put your office, and then you go out 5 miles, and then when you reach that goal, 10 miles, 15 miles, and where video plugs in, and so does SEO and all the posting and all that kind of stuff, is you then target what's in that 5 miles initially.
Yeah.
The subdivisions, the businesses, the street names, the cities, the little intricate areas.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Paper Jacket Podcast. In today's episode, we talk with Mike from 𝗠𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. Mike is going to share with us his experience over the last 25 years he's had in the digital marketing space as a graphic designer, as an SEO specialist, as a social media specialist. You become a lot of specialists over 25 years of marketing. So we're going to have a great conversation with him. He's going to have some great ideas and tips for a lot of local businesses. I think you're going to love this episode. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining our podcast today.
I have truly been looking forward to this. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I want to help introduce you to the audience, but I think you probably have a better way of introducing yourself to the audience. But let me first say, I met you at BNI, our networking group, right? But we hit it off right away because we noticed both of us were in the marketing space.
Yeah.
You mentioned how you did digital marketing. I'm like, I work with digital marketing guys.
Absolutely.
So why don't you talk to the audience about your companies?
Yeah, so I own 42nd Street, which is a design firm up in East Tennessee, design and marketing, and then 𝗠𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is located in Tampa, Florida, does similar things, but it's a different model. And we've been doing this literally since I was a kid. When I was a couple years old, my grandparents met at UT in Tampa. And fast forward that 20 years, and now I started my own business when I was about 12 or 13 years old, painting murals on walls, and it triggered me to go into logos and then forward into when you go into design, inevitably marketing sort of follows. So it was really a natural progression of my life to go into it. And, about 25 years ago, my wife looked at me and said, let's do what you want to do. And I said, I want to design. And she said, that makes no money. Do you know what that is? We weren't in it, so we didn't know. And I was like, let's see. And before we knew it, we were making enough money to not just survive, but thrive for sure. So pretty exciting. So
naturally, graphic designer becomes digital marketer. What did you learn in that process?
Everything. And by the way, YouTube's where you start. There's no, I tell people to this day, like,
YouTube
just
University.
go on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know, I knew how to design logos by hand. So I've always been a hand drawer, hand sketcher, that kind of thing since I was a kid. So that was very natural for me. To turn that into a digital vectored logo was something I did not know how to do. So this is somewhere around 1998. It was the very first version of Dreamweaver. I got the first version. It was on a mini disc, if you remember those. They were kind of small.
Yep.
And it was great. I worked at Sony corporate office, so I had some insight on what was coming. And I taught myself Dreamweaver, and that's where the whole thing sort of started. And then around 2005 was when I learned Illustrator. And then Photoshop came directly behind that. That's an obvious progression. And then once we, to answer your question with marketing, once we started doing that, we started getting asked for business cards. So that turned into me designing business cards. And it was only me at that point. Then we got asked for, hey, how does SEO work? And how does this work? And before I knew it, I was on YouTube so many hours a day that it just filled itself in, if you will.
Yeah.
So I knew exactly how to do it. And back then it was easier.
Yeah.
You could literally put a good title in a website and show up in any city in the country relatively quickly.
I feel like I had similar ways of starting that out too, because I went to film school and I wanted to be Spielberg, right? So when you're thinking I want to be a designer, what professionals were you looking at? Like, I want to be.
I have one better. I went to Ringling School of Art in 1995, right, to talk to them about what I was going to be when I grew up, right?
Yeah.
They offered me animation and more or less life drawing, right? Which is like caricatures, drawing, sketching, like going into that space. And I literally looked at the woman and I said, who would want animation? And I didn't do that. And literally about a month later, I believe it was either right before or right after Toy Story came out, and it exploded. And I just sat there like, you have got to be kidding me. Because you don't realize in college, within a 1 year period, you miss the bubble you were supposed to be in, and you can't really necessarily go back.
Sure.
So that was kind of where I realized, okay, I made a first mistake, right? But then I nowadays especially, you can follow everybody that you sort of trend towards, if you will. So you can have a very specific style. And artists get that very early on from things like DuckTales. It sounds crazy, but I used to stand there they would be playing and I would be sketching the characters as I was watching the cartoon. My parents and all thought that was just crazy because at the end of it, I would have a sketch, right? It would be like relatively good from just the movement of the screen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started for me as a kid. And then I got the Art of Animation Disney book, and then you start worshiping Walt Disney. Was an inevitable.
Yeah. I think every creative at one point has worshiped Disney.
There's no way. And I still get giddy when I see him because it was such a big part of my youth. Yeah. And obviously our whole goal was to work for Disney, and that's all the passion projects that you do as a kid. Then you grow up a little.
Yeah.
You know.
So and kind of like what you graphic design realized, okay, for me to do this, the only way to make money with it is do it within marketing, right? And that's kind of what I realized with video. But I needed to figure out social media in many ways because I was like, all right, if I'm going to figure out how to make content, I got to figure out the distribution center for it.
Very much.
And that was like 2014, 2015, when basically Facebook business pages were just starting. And so, yeah, it was, it's been a bit of a journey.
And organically, they worked really well then.
Yeah, for like a little, only for a little bit, because
6 months a year.
Because all of a sudden Facebook was like, oh, you're actually going to reach like 1% of your audience most of the time. Because before the algorithm really was a thing.
We would post and get 3,000-4,000 views. I remember for like a year. Yeah. For about a year.
Yeah.
And then it just went down to like 11 and the same amount of people.
So I was working for a construction company. And they're like, Jeremy, you do video, so I'm sure you know marketing. And as any good employee who's trying to grow in the business and get out of the scheduling department, you're like, sure I do. So
YouTube.
Yeah. But what I wanted to do was grow the Facebook audience because at that time it mattered how many followers you had to be able to reach them, right? So that was the thing back then. And I did this thing where I was like, if we get to 100 likes by this time, I'll do the cinnamon challenge.
Yep.
And that's what I ended up doing was the cinnamon challenge. And then it was like, get 300 likes, I'll get a pie in the face, and just doing weird gimmicks like that.
There's a little bit in marketing of you have to understand the wall is going to fall and you have to climb the wall if you need to, or you're going to have to build the wall if you have to. And when I was a kid, my parents were both disabled. My dad's blind and my mom has polio.
Oh, wow.
And I would walk in the kitchen and my mom would be on my dad's shoulders and they would be hanging wallpaper. And I would say, what are y'all doing? Oh my God. And she would say, well, he's my legs and I'm his eyes. And I thought it was amazing. Right. So when I was a kid, I would paint on the walls, murals everywhere. But I spilled a gallon of paint one time, and instead of my dad, it was on carpet, instead of my dad coming in and like literally tearing me apart, which he had all right to do so. I ruined the room. Yeah. He just pulled the carpet up and said, keep going. And I was like, okay, lesson learned, right? Lesson learned. So to this day, I do the same with my daughter. But now I have the same things. Clients come to us and they say, hey, I got this wall I can't get over. And there's no wall too big. We just have to stop and think about the wall a second.
Right.
And I think that's a really fantastic thing to learn young.
Yeah.
Because it really opens the doors. And I wish I learned that more in the college space. But, self-education works too,
So let's talk about that. Because in the last 20, you said you've basically been doing the marketing for 25 years.
Yeah.
There's been so many walls.
Oh.
And new walls
there's more now than ever. Really.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Like what do you believe has been some of the biggest shifts in digital marketing that you've had to adjust to over the years?
Boy, that's a big one. SEO has taken a little bit of a hit with how we set it up. If
that
you will.
Is the most recent big change.
It's not working like it used to, and I think no one's been client-wise. Nobody's been trained to understand how it works. Just like when you're in high school and college, you should know what credit scores are like. And you get out and you're like, what's a credit score, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's the same way. And you're like, I didn't know that was there. I didn't know that worked that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing. We're not getting enough education to the people that own businesses to really make good decisions. So basically our SEO 20 years ago, 30 years ago was $20 and you could get in any search anywhere. Now you're not going to touch anything for $20. So I think a lot of it's just in the education space. But as far as what is pivoted, the hardest pivots, AI, I have to say, is probably the biggest one in my lifetime. I've never seen anything. That gives everybody the ability to get whatever's in their head out, and they think it's good. Yeah. I've never seen anybody give me so many logos are coming to our office and they're going, we want you to design this. and it's just not good.
Yeah.
And they think it's fantastic because most people, again, aren't trained that they should be building the logo or designing the logo for their customers for what their brand could be, because the brand gets told to them. You don't necessarily build the brand and say, this is what we are. Your clients kind of tell you what that is, right? So you shouldn't really go after your, what you think is perfect. Sometimes there's a better way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest pivot. I say social media before that was probably the one that really knocked everybody for a loop, because we didn't know where it was going, and we still kind of don't. It's
that's very
true, Facebook pages don't move very fast, where Instagram tend to move a lot faster. TikTok is sort of amazing, but it's super hard to get clients off of in very niched industries. Other industries, it works very well.
It's Facebook and Instagram have always been the most popular.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I believe what moves the needle most of the time is TikTok and YouTube. It's the people that are like on Facebook and Instagram are like, I don't want to go to TikTok or YouTube, where the reality is, it's like, hey, just so you know, Facebook and Instagram are basically TikTok and YouTube now. So yeah, social media has been a huge thing.
We had a little bit of a pop, I would say maybe 10 years ago, where billboards and I would say commercials, and I would still say commercials are probably, if you can afford a commercial and it's within the budget, I would say that is clearly the best way to get to a lot of people in the
define commercial, like TV commercial,
okay. And it could be digital, like obviously Hulu and some of those, Amazon. Yeah. But if you if you have a commercial that plays during a sports game or the news, I wouldn't say everything else, but but those live moments. Yeah, I've had a lot of success with our client base, especially home services, in those spaces. But again, people generally are not being told that they're not going to make $100,000 on $3,000 a month investment. You're just not going to make that kind of money. Yeah. If you make 2 or 3 times, you're doing really good. If you make 4 or 5 times, get ready, because you're not going to for long.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I mean, you just kind of, I'd say the education element is probably the hardest part.
Helping manage their expectations, right? So when you think about what you were doing 25 years ago versus now, like what is your biggest pivot on helping educate the clients with your digital marketing?
I tell you, having as much time as I have in the space, my conversations are really fantastic. I had one yesterday with a young lady that hasn't named her brand, her name of her company, and her name's RJ, and she's fantastic. And we had this phenomenal conversation, and we ended up with just a fantastic shift. And at the end, she's like, "Oh, thank God that you were here, and we were able to work through this." And it's just the knowledge we bring to how we get to the solution. Right. So the younger people that are coming in, a lot of them don't have that space in the space. They haven't put their time in, if you will. And I was that way, I'm sure. When I got in and I was relatively new, I imagine people in the town I was in probably laughed a little bit and were like, "Oh, he's that young guy." Yeah, and until we pretty much smoked everybody in town. and because we stayed very consistent. One of our rules in 42nd Street initially was to never compromise. If you see it in your head, get it out. And it was like, and sometimes that made a $400 investment on a logo turn into 25 hours of work for us. Sure. But at the end of the day, we got money, we got business from doing that. And we still have that same motto where it's like, we're going to get to the bottom of this one way or another, but don't compromise what's in your head if you know you're right. Like, don't. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you said there consistency. Yeah. I remember a initial conversation we had where you said, like, what I've learned is success comes from consistency. And I like when you said that, because I'm like, that's what I realized, in a lot of marketing, a lot of really just life in general. It's like, okay, the one thing that always proves right is it's not the big wins. It's the very small wins on a consistent basis. And when I say win, like on a personal life, right? Yeah. If you make it to the gym, that's a win, right? Maybe I didn't lose 10 pounds that day.
Total win. Yeah.
I will lose 10 pounds if I just kind of keep on doing those wins, right? It's kind of same thing for marketing. Yeah. Hey, your one post ain't going to get you a whole lot. Yeah. Your one post a day for a whole month, probably not a whole lot, but do that for a year and see what happens. It's like everything is the long game with short wins in many ways. And so, but I think that's where businesses, in my opinion, lose the expectation. Like their expectations are not correct because they think, all right, I'm going to give you 3 months and let's see how we do in 3 months. And I'm like, what in life can you get done in 3 months? Like, what can you pivot?
Especially business.
Yeah.
Business doesn't work that way at all. In fact,
Yeah.
consistency has been the one thing that we've done relatively well. I will tell you what pivoted my entire existence into my thought processes now is after COVID, I took the second COVID vaccine and I was going backward on the Mount Everest ride at Animal Kingdom. And I went into heart failure. I went into AFib. And I went into heart failure. My heart was pumping at 29%. Now, I didn't know that coming off the ride. I thought I just really had anxiety from work because anybody that owns a business realizes you carry that anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, when I was told to take 6 months off, the business wasn't prepared for that at all. And it really opened the doors up to what consistency I need to bring to the next stage of this, right? But consistency is the key to the entire thing. And where 𝗭𝘪𝗏𝗧 came in, so 42nd Street is my legacy company brand, if you will.
Yeah.
It's my lifetime. If you see the logo, you'll get it has that 100 years ago it was good, and 100 years from now it'll be just as good.
Yeah.
𝗭𝘪𝗏𝗧 came from that 6 months off. I sat down and read the Atomic Habits book. Right in the middle of the book, it said something, and it said, I believe the way it was worded was, if you do something consistent for a solid year every day, you'll be 37% higher or better than the average person that doesn't. And I thought, well, that's interesting. What if that was put into marketing? Because, agencies tend to do their marketing whenever they sort of feel like it. And if no one knows that, then they need to know that. That you pay someone $400 and they just go, okay, that's good. Are you good? Are you good? Client, are you good? Oh, we're getting a lead. Great, you're good. And they don't touch it. Because if it's running well and you're saying number one in your one search and you're happy, they're not going to touch it. It's just an old school model. It's been around forever. It's just the way things tended to be laid out.
Yeah.
You do what you need to get where you want to go, but the goals were relatively small. Well, consistency doesn't work that way. So that's where the 𝗭𝘪𝗏𝗧 was born I tested the idea that what if we did a daily task, if you will, in some capacity. So we always had this philosophy in the office that if you build a business, marketing, everything you do should be, say, a letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you do everything. You should start at Google Business, Bing Business, your directories, open up your YouTube channel, right?
Everywhere
Businesses don't do that. They go A, B, and M, N, O, P. Because I can't tell you how many businesses I talk to that don't even have a Bing account.
Right.
Like a Bing, a map. Because or even just a business listing. And Bing does take up, I believe it's 6 or 7% of the internet market still, or maybe even growing. So the fact you'd even miss something as big as that when it's absolutely free is sort of insane. So what we try to do is come in from the bottom up. So we work with small businesses in that business. And the idea is we want to fill in the A to Z's. And by doing that, you can see through consistency, it starts coming in differently. Almost everybody's Google business category is wrong. Literally, almost everybody. You're under contracting and you should be under HVAC. You're under general contractor and you should be under window blinds. Like you're not, it's usually wrong. The minute you pivot that, then you're in the search you should be.
Yeah.
So
a lot of these micro changes.
You got it. So it becomes a little bit more of a task setup of doing the marketing. Because right now, let's be honest, with ChatGPT, you can ask it 100 questions and get what should be done. You just don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thing too is because anybody can literally just sign up for a business in many ways, right? It's so easy that there are so many non-active, what are these businesses doing sort of situations. So having activity on all those platforms and are a key driver.
So true.
So everything is sort of a social media place. Like your Google place, to show up on Google Maps in many ways. When someone's searching that's local SEO still sort of exists.
It does,
sort of. And if they're searching in a particular way and not using AI typically, if you're showing more activity, you're more likely to show up, and that's posting photos and videos on there, right? So you're exactly right. Setting it up and then micro doses on a consistent basis, not all of it at once.
So we have an interesting thing we do in the office. We take, take your business, right? We go to we have all the chats open. Okay, Gronk and ChatGPT and Google, and we go through and we say we type in the industry. Who's the best videographer in Tampa, just say, right? And basically it'll give a list. Okay, 99% chance you're not on it. I'm not on mine. It's a process I'm going to go down to get on it, but you're beat out by the word best. Best basically goes to reviews, right?
Yeah.
Well, then here's what we do next. We say we want to be on that list. Can you give me a task list of things to do to get on that list?
Right.
Then it does that. It gives me the actual tasks. Now, let me tell you, they're pretty tough. You need 200 reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty tough, right?
Yeah.
But that's the task list that 𝗠𝗏 starts knocking out for you.
Yeah.
Now, here's the catch too. Each one is different. So like Gemini will tell you some social media things. It's ranking social in a lot of ways. It definitely ranks YouTube. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
Gronk, a little different. ChatGPT, very different because they're more competing with Google at this point. So it's just different. So all of them are going to be, all of them have different task lists for you to get to the, if you will, the answer, if you're looking for that. So that's what we should be doing moving forward, is following that list, because that will tell you video. It'll tell you this podcast. It'll tell you the SEO tricks that they're doing that you're not. It'll also tell you how many reviews they have and you don't. Unfortunately, it'll tell you a lot of things that maybe you're not ready for. But
going back to the expectations we talked about, though, I feel like in many ways, if we're wanting to make this 5-star restaurant cake, right? We can get the ingredients all day long. We can get the directions for how to make that cake all day long. But is our cake going to be just as good as that restaurant's, that chef's? The variable is still the creative and the creative / the talent.
Correct.
That's like, everyone wants to follow the same formula. It's like, hey, you know what? The formula is here. I mean, granted, again, marketing keeps changing, right?
Yeah,
like
changing.
What you just talked about, and asking a robot
it's
what to do.
Like,
that's a 2-year thing, right? A 2-year-old thing.
I would say.
But again, but if you were to follow every single one of those steps, does it still beat your competition?
So that's the problem. It would shift again.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, and this is where people don't understand, you should do all those tasks.
Yep.
Then add a whole other pile of tasks.
Have a
also.
talented person do all the tasks and then get ready to pivot. Yeah.
In fact, what I do is quite the opposite. I look at what everybody's doing and I do the complete opposite. And I write it down. I'm like, okay, we did this a couple years ago. We do it every year, but a couple years ago was really, really, really important for 42nd Street. We were like, okay, our competition, they're posting like, one post a week on Facebook. Okay, none of them are posting people. Okay, none of them are posting video. None of them are posting. So we started going through this whole thing with like, okay, we don't want to do what they're doing. So let's flip it and let's go like only video. Let's go only podcast. Let's go only. And that's a great way to do it, because it's not a saturated market, because they're not doing it. You can see they're not doing it. And it can be very regionalized. So the other thing too, just like the Disney hub, the castle in the middle, and it kind of grows out to the different areas. You start with the closest thing to your house or to your office. So if you're in, say if you're in Lutz, start with Lutz. Don't start with Tampa. Tampa's too big.
Yeah.
Get to Tampa. You're going to start with Lutz, almost like put your office, and then you go out 5 miles. And then when you reach that goal, 10 miles, 15 miles, and where video plugs in, and so does SEO and all the posting and all that kind of stuff, is you then target what's in that 5 miles initially.
Yeah.
The subdivisions, the businesses, the street names, the cities, the little intricate areas, like Tampa has Hyde Park. People forget that you can market South Tampa versus Hyde Park versus Davis Island.
And that's what they're listening to, right?
Yeah.
You say Tampa, it's like, that could be 40 miles.
Huge. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
But one thing we've learned in BNI is that people actually are very local. And I live in Epperson, Epperson Lagoon. If you've never seen that, you should look that up. It's really cool. But it's in Wesley Chapel. And my BNI chapter in Lutz doesn't really, about half of the chapter work around my house. And I'm only half hour away potentially, but there's so much business in the small area around their business that they don't necessarily have to go that far out. And drive times, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
So when you market, you should start really, really, really close. Now, that wasn't the goal 20 years ago.
Sure.
You market the whole city.
Yeah.
There's not even a question.
Make more of a vanilla ad. And we've suggested, niching down a little bit, but I still don't think, they still think big. Like, oh, okay, well, I got to make a vanilla ad and then niche it down to these cities. Like, no, at the end of the day, talk to each city differently.
It is very different.
Yeah. And so it sounds to me like we share the same philosophy.
Yeah.
If you are marketing, you sent the companies that seem to be like, I need to go, this entire metro area or this entire state or this entire nation. That's when I invest a lot of money into marketing. But then the local business are like, hey, I only handle this area.
Yeah.
It's like if you as a local business were to market like them, the only difference is your ad spend will be lower. And maybe you don't need to post 3 times a day. Maybe just once a day is fine. But hey, is anyone else using video? Like, are you a landscaper not doing video?
Oh yeah.
No one else in Land O'Lakes, no one else in Lutz is doing video, or very few of them are. If you're doing video, match them and do it better. One up them, right? If your competition's posting once a day, now try to do it twice a day. What kind of videos are they posting? How about you make it more personable and start targeting these things? These are ways to grow your local audience.
And you really have to tie in visually locally as well. Like if I want to market Jacksonville, I can't just do that without potentially going there with your crew and saying, hey, we're going to shoot for a day.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to the nicest places people know. Like I shot a video in the Empire State Building. I was there in May, and we shot this it was just on my iPhone, and we had a gimbal, but we were just like, we're this high, we're over New York, 42nd Street. It obviously made a lot of sense. And getting that exposure in the city that has the name of our business was huge. So it's not so much we're getting business there, but it just tied into the business itself. That if you're getting business there, you need to be there to some degree.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a lot, but you just have to be there a little bit. Because when it comes to marketing, especially like, say Google Ads, the cost of going, say, statewide, people have this misunderstanding that they can spend $500 and target the state of Florida in anything.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. I mean, unless you're really not going to.
Like for a second, do you think no one thinks that they can do Google Ads as well in the entire state of Florida?
It's interesting. I tell you, and we cover sort of all that to some degree. I mean, and we hire in the people that do it better than us, because that's really a key value that we will provide you the best people to do the job. And I'd say listen to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. They know what they're doing. So at the end of the day, I think you have to have bigger budgets for bigger ideas. I don't think it's like it used to be. Sure. I mean, we used to have clients that would say, I want to come up in Houston, and we would do it. A website would say Houston, and we'd be the top in Houston, and we would be like, how do we do that? Like, it was just like, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We were young in it, and YouTube was young, and we were all young doing it. So we were testing now there's no chance that would happen.
Well, okay, let's think about, 25 years ago to now. Let's compare a few things. Social media didn't exist, so you didn't have the social media marketing and posting things like you did before. If you wanted to have exposure, it was buying ads inside magazines. It was buying ads inside television ads. And then SEO was just starting. So SEO was the cheaper thing, right?
TV Guide.
Yeah, baby.
That was it.
Dude, you know how expensive it was to do marketing back then? It was more expensive to do marketing back then than it is now, technically.
Yeah.
But then social media made it cheap. Yeah. I'll put quotes in the air, because at the end of the day, it was just a market that randomly that just came out of like, and the smart ones, pioneers, if you would, said, all right, let's start doing this stuff. And I like the Gary Vee quote, marketers ruin everything.
100%.
We've seen kind of a correction, right? It's like, look, marketing became cheaper because of social media, but now that everyone's doing it, knows what to do with it, there's sort of been a course correction of like, now what used to be a TV ad is now more your social media marketing, but it's still extremely effective. It's still super cheap in comparison to television ads and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it still is marketing is still a cheaper product than it was 25 years ago in many ways, but it's not as cheap as it was 10 years ago.
Correct.
So every business owner's like, why would I pay, $500, $1,000 a month on Facebook? I buy stuff on Facebook. I'm like, where do you hear about most things? Oh yeah, social media.
I remember, this is probably 30 years ago, but this has been going on for a while, that you'd pay $800 for a full page ad in Yellow Pages and make $1 million. Now you can do the numbers on that, $1 million. And you'd be like, oh, they just charge me so much. I'm like, whoa, what? I mean, let me do that. Like, let me go back to that time period.
Yeah.
I will say that social right now is having a little bit of an influx of fake video and fake things, and I think people are a little bit concerned about the fakeness of what we're seeing.
Yeah,
I think it is glossing over a lot. So I'm curious to see what social platforms, how they shift
Yeah.
to help the marketing side, because we can't be, if we're glossed over too much, we'll stop paying for their marketing.
Right,
So
right.
they're going to do some sort of a shift in that space. They have to.
You can fight it or you can adapt to it without losing your values. At the end of the day, marketing should not be emotional, but it should be strategic. And the only emotional part to me about marketing is, does this represent my brand's character the way I want to represent it? And to me, that's the only emotional part.
And that's where ChatGPT is going wrong for people. I say ChatGPT, it's any AI, where they're creating logos. Because I think that's the logos and brands, to me, there's an emotional side to a logo. You want a mental picture here? When I hand draw something in a logo setting and I'm doing a logo, I typically, I put my Apple headphones on, I noise cancel everybody. I put on Teddy Swims, or I put on some Leon Bridges or something. I stand up, and as I'm designing, I dance a bit. I step back 10 feet, I go forward 10 feet, and it happens over a period of like 7 or 8 hours. My wife just stares at me like, this is crazy. And at the end of the day, I'm like, here's what we did. And she's like, oh my God, like, because there's an emotional tie to that. And that it sounds crazy, but that pull that I have to create something that emotionally drives people is what, there's no possible way AI is ever going to get right in that capacity. And we see it now. Anybody that uses AI to create a podcast logo, I see that in abundance. Social media icons, those are not expensive to hire a design firm to do you a round of icons. Logos, brands for sure. You can pull elements. By all means, we all use it we layer logos, if you will. So like yesterday, I was designing a great use. I was designing a medallion for the next king of the Santiago crew in Ybor. And I designed it. I took the design, and to show the client or a friend of mine, I put it into ChatGPT and said, make this into a gold medallion. It took the exact design I did, made the medallion. So then I could say, here's my design, here's the medallion. And he went, nailed it, done. I'm like, great, because showing the medallion being the mock-up, if you will, just like when you mock up a billboard, if you can put it on a billboard, it's going to be significantly better to the client to see their design on the billboard. That's not been something we've been able to do anytime up to now with any kind of speed. It was always, okay, we're going to spend 2 days on a style guide, and we're going to have to mock up billboards and signs and car wraps. And well, now we can give somebody a reasonable idea what it looks like. Now it is flawed. Those mock-ups are flawed, but that's a good use of of an AI. Is you take your design, you get the mock-up, and then you can really make tweaks to the mock-up, if you will. But that's a good use of it.
I think if you use AI to complement instead of and not replace, I think that's right now is where we're trying to be careful, because again, you're right. At the end of the day, who are we marketing to? People. I think people will be attracted to people more like always, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be personable. And I do believe that right now we have this, whatever, I can just have this thing, make a logo. It's going to end up being sort of like vanilla at the end of the day, and they're going to want something more unique. And I do see that's where the industry is going to go back to is shifting around to the uniqueness. But at the end of the day, what businesses should be thinking about, let's close on that one. How should I be marketing my business over the next 5 years based upon what's going on? If you were to give advice to somebody on like the three most important things when it comes to digital marketing, your local business, meaning city, county, maybe up to statewide business, what should they focus on? So
as a whole, digital marketing would be like 90% of this conversation, but I think networking locally is still a 100% must. You have to be involved with somehow.
You got to have sales involved.
Not necessarily a B&I because that locks you into certain times, but chamber events and things like that, they're just a must, especially in a big city. To complement that though, the future has to be video. It has to be social media. It has to be what drives your name in any AI search, whatever that ends up being. And we're being told on a daily how that's shifting. So now you can pay money into ChatGPT to sell product. That happened yesterday. So we're being told things as fast as, We've never had the speed of these changes coming at us.
Yeah.
So I would say that going back to consistency, you make your list of what you do the ABCs all the way to Z, make sure every single thing in your business is completed, and then do the stuff that it says to get where you're going.
Yeah.
Google posting, do it. Social media posting, do it. Yeah, if you don't have time, hire. If you can't afford someone local, go overseas. There's companies that can help you. When you have enough money, pull back, go local. Like work the system a little bit. Understand that you have to spend money to make money, and don't make money be 10, 15, 20 times more than what you're spending. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So utilize your time better, but from the digital side, you just got to do it all.
Right.
And that's crazy to think that you have to do it all, but you really do.
Yeah.
Or you can just stay small. And that's okay too.
It's interesting you started off with like the first thing is networking, because if you think, I think a lot of people think networking and then digital marketing, and it's like, no, let's blend those two.
It's blended.
The only way to actually do effective digital marketing is to be networking in the digital space. How do you network?
Correct.
You got to create content. That's why video's blown up. It's more personable content to put out there to utilize. You can use it with stitching, commenting on other people's videos and stuff like that, making your own, or simply doing the commenting and being involved in social media as well, being a business involved in that in the right way.
Oh yeah.
There's ways to ruin your name. Just like, again, in a networking group, if you're going to be a jerk there, in one of the places, you're just going to be known as a jerk. But ultimately, what do both do? Both build your brand. And that is what AI is looking for.
Yes.
Is what is the best brand? And how do they see it? Yeah, like you said, reviews, engagements. Well, this one's really popular.
Think about a networking group when someone refers you, they go to your website. You hand them a business card.
Yep.
How many?
That's like way down the road though. You know, it's like no one calls you right away. No one goes to your house right away.
And they have to find you.
Right.
They have to go on Google and say, hey, _Rocket. And if I'm not there, I don't get the shot.
Well, they're asking a friend, like, have you heard about so-and-so? Like they want to hang out. Like, should I? It's all high school, man. It's all about being the most popular kid in high school.
Exactly. And you'll notice if you follow like Gary Vee and some of the people on social, just period, there's hundreds of people. There's levels of marketing. There's levels of business. So if you're a single owner, you're going to live in a different space than the guy with 10 employees and the guy with 100 employees. And you look at like, some of the advice you get that you're like, oh, I should do that. Yeah, that might be for someone with 100 employees. You have to really analyze the fact that you're in this space and there's other spaces you're going to be getting to as you progress. Business coaching.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a coach.
Yeah. And because like we said earlier too, we can have the recipe, but we don't necessarily have the talent always. You might be a talented person. Like I'm a talented guy making videos. So if I have my own business, yeah, maybe I can make my own video, but is that the best use of my time?
No.
Time and talent, right? Yeah. So it all comes down to marketing is not emotional. It's a strategy. And that has not changed in the last 25 years.
And the team you build around that should be able to tell you that. So if your video company, Paper Jacket, if you can look at someone and go, okay, here's what we're going to do. I need you to take your iPhone, upgrade it. And then you're going to take that iPhone, you're going to shoot every job in landscape mode or portrait mode. And I need you to send it to me every time we do this and this and this, or you're going to post this way. If you're hiring people that are not giving you the advice of you can do this part yourself,
like,
and we
I
can
don't
do
do
this
social media. I don't do those things. It's like, well, you're losing my opportunity for me.
You have a lot of people in the space right now that are coming in with no background in this business, and they're trying to take it all. Okay, we unfortunately lost a few clients last week to new businesses because the client wants to cut their budget. Right, the people they hired are now contacting us because they don't know how to put the title in the website. They don't know how to log in to the site at all. Like they don't know anything about the site. So, and then
they're cheaper.
Yeah, but they're cheaper. And you know what? I love when people go to a bigger company. They say, hey, we love what you did. We're going to the stage up. And there is a stage up. The people that work with McDonald's and Tonbris and Knoxville, Tennessee, they're a step up. Go to them. That sounds phenomenal, right? Don't go down. Especially if you're a good business. Yeah. There's no need. If you have a thriving business, do not do that.
Yeah.
That's just something we've seen a lot recently. And let me tell you, $20, $30, $40 budgets is not, come on.
No.
It's just not where you should be.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. You've given our audience a lot to think about, a lot to utilize. And so I want to take a toast to our conversation.
Pleasure. Friendship.
Yeah. And before we let the audience go too, we'll take a sip. How can...
It's good. Wow.
It is good peanut butter whiskey, right? How can people get a hold of you, Mike?
So the best way is to go to sodarocket.com, and there's a form right there on the website. That's the easiest way to do it. 42nd Street's where a lot of our work is housed, and you can read. We have fantastic reviews on both companies. 42nd Street is 42st.com, and Soda Rocket is sodarocket.com. That's the best way to find us, and I'm on both calendars. We can meet up and have just a great conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.